Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. It's Friday. We're going to be having a fun panel with outstanding co-hosts today talking about sustainability and social impact. We may get a little bit into food. We may get a little bit into electric vehicles. We may get into a few other industries as well. You're going to have to stay tuned to find out. And a big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria for making today's episode possible. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Let's go ahead and jump right in, introducing each and every one of our guests today. Flo, welcome back to the show. I'm going to have you kick it off for us today.
Yeah, thank you, Kyle. Yeah, hi, my name is Flo. I'm a German serial entrepreneur and investor. My background is software. So I've been running a few software startups. Now I run a sustainable cryptocurrency called NECO. It's a currency for the common good. We generate profits, provide universal basic income, and protect the climate. And yeah, Kyle, one of my favorite topics is sustainability. That's what I think, is this new era that we have just entered in, like an era of health and sustainability. So I'm really happy to be in that show.
Absolutely happy to have you as well. I want to talk a little bit more about your project as well on the fintech crypto side and why you decided to go down that route, even including UBI, the universal basic income angle as well. But next up, Keith, welcome back to the show. I know you've got some exciting news. Don't tease it yet. Wait for me to come to you, but this is just your intro. Keith, great introduction. For those who don't know, Keith is a part of Upward Stage Ventures. There you go, Keith.
Thank you. Great to be back. Yeah, Upper Stage Capital is a new firm after 20 years in venture, all on the clean tech and sustainability side. I saw a new opportunity, and we are playing in that no man's land between VC and PE, getting involved in profitable companies, but much earlier than PE normally gets involved. It's an exciting space, and I'm glad to be making the change. However, I do continue to be very involved on the clean tech and sustainability side as a chairman of the Foresight Clean Tech Accelerator, which is Canada's largest clean tech accelerator, over 600 companies through our client programs to date.
All right, excited to get to that news that you've got to drop as well, that you teased out yesterday with me. So we'll come back to that. Tolga, welcome to the show. It's always a pleasure. I know EV Loop is exploding with growth right now, so we're appreciative of your time. Little intro, little background for everybody.
Thank you, Kyle. Yes, I am the VP of EV Loop, as you mentioned. We are a EV charging network, one of the fastest growing EV charging networks in North America. Prior to this, I was a CEO of New Wave Holdings, a Canadian-based investment company investing into esports and psychedelics. Prior to that, New Wave Holdings acquired my company called Thunderbolt, and I was a CEO of my own company for 7-8 years. I have great experience with working with startups and also big companies as well. I'm excited to share my experiences with you.
Wonderful. We're excited to have you. And last but not least, Kate, welcome back to the show. It's always a pleasure. It's been a little bit, but we're happy to see you. A little intro, a little background.
Thanks so much. We've been hard at work, so please, my name is Catherine Cartini, but call me Kate, co-founder and partner at Chloe Capital, a venture capital firm that invests in women-led technology companies around the world. And we hold Shark Tank-style pitch events, and we travel around the country, and we help catalyze fundraising for female founders. In addition to that, I'm also the Chief Investment Officer of Social Venture Circle. It's a nonprofit and national network of impact investors. They focus on JEDI, justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. And let's see, I guess I work with the National Science Foundation as an instructor, and I'm a venture partner with Republic.
Wonderful. Kate, I'm going to kick it off with you. You do so much. So I'm going to let you kind of pick your lane here, but talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing around sustainability and social impact. I mean, through JEDI, through Republic, through all these things that you do. I mean, I know you're seeing a ton of deals. You're crazy busy right now, which leads into this industry. Talk to us about what's happening from your side.
it's an exciting time. You know, we've been working on justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion at Chloe Capital for over 4 years now, but now people are so getting passionate about sustainability. And that's why we're really, really excited to be partnering with New York State and Cornell University to hold a diversity in climate tech program. And this is going to be in the fall in Ithaca, New York. And we have our first information session coming up on May 13th at 11 a.m. Eastern time. So if you know anyone, a women-led technology company that is battling any kind of clean energy, climate tech problem, then we really welcome being connected. And also any of you who are co-investors and are dealing in the space, our programs really are meant to catalyze capital to underrepresented voices. So we would love to have you at the table as well. With Social Venture Circle, you know, it is a mighty network that continues to go strong. We just closed out the quarter with about 3 million in capital moved. And this is again from individual angels who just want to do well by doing good. And when I look at the deal flow across, half of it is social responsibility and the other half is environmental. So that leads to sustainability. And one company that they recently invested in is Verity Packaging, a woman-led company out of the California area, and she has produced recyclable aluminum packaging for the beauty industry, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. But what happens is us ladies, we lather it on and then we throw it away, and all that plastic goes into the ecosystem. So now with this aluminum recycling model that has been adopted in Europe and is running like crazy, they are now working on cultural education in the United States. So we could do that too.
So Kate, real quick, why now? Why do you feel like this is such a sudden shift? With all this you do, I apologize for coming back on the follow-up so quickly, but it's exciting to me to hear this. And I've seen a number of deals in this space as well. That's just, it's very heartwarming. It's very exciting. It's very thrilling on all sides. But for you, why do you think this is now the time that people are looking at these investments, whether they are investors or whether they're entrepreneurs, to invest their time?
You know, that's a really great question. All the gentlemen that are on this panel are experts of industry. They have been doing this for years, if not decades, okay? So they get it, they understand. But sometimes when you're dealing with the masses, it takes time. You have to meet people where they are. So why now? I think it's just because the masses have decided that they relate to this now. And if we don't do it now, that we're going to continue to run the risk of our grandbabies and their grandbabies getting in real trouble. So you see baby boomers, their voices they're starting to retreat and they're not being as vocal anymore. They're towards end of life. But you also are seeing very active millennials who believe in this cause so much that are rallying their resources, particularly on social media, to get engaged in what's happening. And, you know, people follow people.
I love that. People follow people, and I think you're spot on. And with that, I'm going to follow over to Keith. Keith, talk to us about this very exciting news that you have of one of your portfolio companies that has been doing some pretty outstanding things in this space. And then I would love to hear your thoughts on the industry following Kate's as well. But yeah, absolutely. I know you've got something to share.
Well, first, I'm going to follow up on something that Kate touched on there, which is succession. It's a big driver for the opportunity we've identified in Upper Stage. There are so many businesses out there that have been run as lifestyle businesses by baby boomers, and they do work. Maybe not all of them, but the best of them have very, very interesting products, services, and perhaps technologies driving those things, and yet no succession plan. This is a lifestyle business. It's been a cash cow for them, and no vision or ambition to go out after their true market opportunity that they could be addressing to make the real impact that their innovation could make. And that was really what inspired us to form Upper Stage, is to find those companies, to help them to transition, to bring in the vision and ambition and the new blood and the new energy that will be able to take these companies through their potential. So I'm very excited about that. But yes, we were not able to get to talking about Hazel yesterday, which is one of my portfolio companies. Hazel is a company out of Chicago that they sustain the shelf life of produce and other products. But their central technology is a controlled release of volatile gases. And they only deal with safe ones, but they're very reactive. They'll within seconds or minutes in the environment, they'll react and they'll be gone. And yet they can have very beneficial effects. Hazel has figured out how to controllably release those things so that you can, just by dropping in a little sachet, like a packet of sugar or a silica gel pack that we're all used to seeing in our boxes, one of those dropped into a box of produce extends its shelf life by 4 times. And if one of these packages happens to tear and powder gets on the fruit, it's okay. This stuff is recognized as safe. It can be eaten without any detrimental effects. So I'm very, very excited about that technology, about that team, about that market, the ability, the impact that can have, right? Food waste, if it was a country, would be the number 3 carbon emitter. It's enormous. 30% of all food worldwide is wasted, and most of it before you even see it in the grocery store. Somewhere in the supply chain, it is lost. It's extremely exciting and compelling opportunity. Now, I led the Series B in Hazel a couple of years back, and they just announced a $70 million Series C led by Temasek. It's extremely exciting to have this huge. It was a $10 million Series B, so that gives you an idea of we're an order of magnitude bigger now to go out and really address the market opportunity here. I'm so excited about what they're doing.
Congratulations to you and the team there as well, Keith. Flo, talk to us about what you're seeing in this industry from the cryptocurrency side, if you will. I mean, you have a project in this space along with FinTech. So talk to us about how you're seeing things from a sustainability and a social impact side from crypto and then FinTech more proper as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the reason why I joined the crypto movement was my realization that most of the big problems that we have today are problems that we could already solve, like poverty, hunger, and also sustainability issues, because we have the technologies, we have the food to feed everyone, we have the medicines to cure almost all diseases. It usually comes back to money that's lacking, and that is the, this thinking of scarcity in our head. So the idea of crypto is to build a new system, and that's what we at NECO are doing, a new financial system that serves the people and the planet. So we have both sides of sustainability, one on the side of the ecological side, but also on the social side. And so that's what I think is key for overcoming these issues, is changing the financial system. And right now, this is, in my opinion, the perfect time. We're seeing the old system collapse. We're seeing the new systems coming, and I guess in like 10 years, things will be very different. We won't see the old structures anymore. We won't see the old financial system. So if you look at crypto, I started I think 3 years ago when I started my company. I was at a crypto event in Malta, and I was expecting a lot of finance people, but what I met was a lot of people who were doing really interesting projects all around some new values that you can do now, values in terms of social and environmental issues. Universal basic income, there's a couple of cryptocurrencies out there who provide income, who want to help poor people, who want to increase the living standards. NECO is one of them. And there are also a couple of tokens out there that have some kind of ecological background. Eco-coins, coins for trees, where you can invest in sustainability, in carbon offset. So we see a lot of projects in the crypto space that are actually, dealing with these issues. And I believe that crypto over the next decade will replace the old system and give us completely new models and completely new ways how to deal with these issues, and turning sustainability. Today sustainability is more a cost issue. If you want to be sustainable, it's cost. But that's the wrong thinking in our mind. If we change the model, if we change the financial system, then we can turn it into a huge profitable area and create opportunities and create industries that help us repair the planet and the damage that we have caused. Because that's really what we need to do over the next couple of decades to fix what we have done to this planet over the last couple of 100 years.
Well, with that being said, as you're seeing shaking heads all around, Tolga, I want to come to you next. I mean, speaking of what has happened around the world in terms of climate and the future of sustainability, talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing, and maybe not just in EV, but on the bigger picture around climate and sustainability as well.
I mean, after this pandemic, obviously things changed a lot, and right now there's a huge focus on sustainability, and the cryptocurrencies have a lot of value, the good ones, the good tokens. But at the same time, I want to also talk about the amount of bubble in the cryptocurrency market too. Like I've been following Dogecoin and everything. It's crazy. So right now, I feel like this whole pandemic kind of created its own bubble, like post-pandemic bubble. Right now, there's so much, obviously, money because of the stimulus packages that the administrations created. It's more than $6-7 trillion which is created, and I actually learned that this was the 20% of the whole dollar amount in the entire world in the circulation. So this is going to have massive implications. And right now we are kind of still in the, I think, phase of, it's still, we're still digesting what's happening. But I think the real effects are going to be felt in the next like 2 to 3 years. And that's when I think a lot of startup companies who are not really, really affecting the world in a positive way, I think they're going to fail. Right now, sustainability is a big thing, and this is not a joke. It's not like a movement. This is like the trends of the early 2020s. I don't think that. I don't think that that's the reality. The reality is, I think sustainability is here to stay, and all startups, whether it's in technology or not in technology, they have to align with the needs of people. And sustainability is actually a very important thing, because it kind of sounds lucrative to so many people, but I think it shouldn't be lucrative. It should be like a very general. It should be generally adopted by the whole mass population of the world. It shouldn't be just adopted by a certain amount of investors and certain amount of entrepreneurs, startup owners. If I mean, I don't see that's happening. I see that this is actually going to happen in a mass scale. Yeah, I mean, going back to the cryptocurrencies, and I think the whole. I believe in the cryptocurrency movement. I told this to you before too, but I also am aware of the fact that there's so many like bubbly things going on, and that's gonna have certain implications too. Right now, there's so much money that is being invested into cryptocurrencies, but at the same time, the function of the cryptocurrency, like people are not buying anything with Dogecoin. They're just buying Dogecoin and they're just keeping it in their wallet. So there's no function really. They're using it as an investment, vehicle. So, and this is obviously not really long term. This is I see this as a short term thing. Cryptocurrencies are going to have value, and we will understand, which cryptocurrency has the most value. I think when governments really get into this in a serious way. Right now, I think we are still in a bubble, and this is gonna continue, like I said, in the next like 2 to 3 years. Going back to EVs and EV charging, I mean, this is gonna stay. Like EVs are gonna continue. I've been reading so many reports from different capital VC companies, private equity companies. There, a lot of companies, a lot of big institutions are doing their own research on, how it can really, evolve in the future. The annual growth of this EV sales are going to be, they see the year on year, at least 30% growth. So at the end of probably 2030, we're going to see maybe to 30 to 40% of the cars in the streets are going to be EVs. So that's definitely going to stay. And EV charging, obviously, the entire infrastructure. There's so many new bills that they're passing to support the EV revolution. So I think for both investors and entrepreneurs, it's really important to analyze what's happening post-pandemic. We need to analyze like where the bubble is and where the real market, where the real growth is. So these are my thoughts. Yeah.
So with that being said, where are the opportunities when it comes to EV right now, Tolga? I mean, if someone's looking to start investing and start building within the space, where should they be focusing?
I mean, I think, I mean, an entrepreneur cannot just start an EV company. Like it needs a substantial amount of capital, a lot of technical knowledge. That applies to EV charging too. I mean, all of our engineers are from Tesla, SolarCity. The amount of talent that is required to start an EV charging or EV company is serious. Is a serious business. But if people are really interested in this newly growing electric movement, Keith mentioned multiple times, I think energy storage space is a very interesting space. And it's easier to get into the market because I think that has a lot of potential. Yeah, I mean, we will see how it's going to grow.
Tolga, one question: what kind of storage do you see as as the storage of the future, like liquid storage or new versions of existing solid state batteries? So where do you think the future will be in terms of storage, which technologies?
I mean, it's hard to tell, but for me, like in the future, and I'm talking about long-term future, not short-term, but in the long-term future, like we have data centers in the middle of the desert, and I think in the future we're going to have massive energy storage facilities, and that's going to be, and we will have similar, like smaller storage facilities in the cities too, to support the infrastructure of this EV charging, because this is gonna change the whole thing. I mean, right now, imagine like thousands, millions of cars, they are pumping gasoline in the car every day, and this amount of energy. Can you imagine like amount of energy that is switching from gasoline to straight grid electricity? That's a huge change, and that is gonna require some sort of like backup storage system. And right now, like it's really hard to tell like how this is gonna grow, but I see this as an opportunity for entrepreneurs to, I think, do some research, and it wouldn't be like stupid to investing into certain areas where the fast charging can be potentially profitable. Right now, we're talking like as Loop, our main focus is parking lots, restaurants, apartment buildings, office buildings. This is like a very huge core focus for us. But at the same time, there's a great potential in freeways and like, you're traveling from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. Yes, there are a bunch of Tesla superchargers, but there are still gaps in the middle. There's so many gaps in the middle that you can't fill it up, and those gaps are the places that you can actually also build some sort of like energy storage facility too, because it's a cheaper land outside of the city. Those are the ideas that are coming to me right now. But this is like such an very like premature industry that I'm also following very carefully because it has so much potential.
Thank you.
So, Flo, let me speak to that. Tolga is right. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of things that are moving quickly here. And there's a lot of different chemistries and even non-chemical, mechanical ways to do this. Some of the oldest ones are mechanical with pumped hydro and pumped air and that. And you're going to have different solutions that win in different areas. Here, where I am on the west coast of North America, we have all these mountains. And here in the Northwest, where I am, we have lots of rain too. So hydro is fantastic. But that's not going to work in places that Tolga's talking about, like the desert with these data centers. Where I've made a bet is on a company out of Portland, Oregon called ESS. And what I love about there is what really wins in this market is cost. Cost is king. And as we begin to factor in end of life and failure type of costs, environmental type of costs into the whole equation, safety becomes embedded in that cost equation. And ESS use an all iron flow battery that's in a saltwater electrolyte. I mean, it's iron. There are multiple oxidation states of iron. They use two of them. Iron is literally dirt cheap. It can literally be found everywhere on the planet. You have no supply chain issues to get iron in there. And they use like iron shavings, iron filings that go into literally salt water, sodium chloride or magnesium chloride. If you have a catastrophic failure of this, of one of this equipment, it won't blow up by itself. But let's say somebody does something stupid, drives a car into one of these plants or something like that. What are you going to have? A bunch of rusty salt water goes into the earth. That's it, right? This is as safe as you get, and its cost. The levelized cost of storage, right? That's the metric that we're all after here. Their levelized cost of storage competes with pumped hydro and pumped air in those environments where it works. So I'm extremely bullish about this. They are winning lots of contracts all over the place. I'm very excited about that. But going to your question, you asked about different formats. This will never be as small as solid state. Right?
Yeah,
you need great big containers full of salt water if you want to have many hours of backup. Yeah. Now, you're only limited to the amount of electrolyte you can store. You can have as many hours of backup as you want, but it really works best on for grid storage where you have where you do have a desert or something where you have a lot of land and you can put down these containers.
Thanks, Keith, for sharing. Super
Thank you.
ESS is the name, right?
ESS Technologies.
ESS Technologies. Okay.
We all learned something on VCTV. Look at that. We're all experts, respectfully, in our field. This is great. Wonderful. Well, Flo, I want to come to you next. I mean, where do you see things going for cryptocurrency in fintech around sustainability? What does the next year look like? And then where can everyone find you online to continue the conversation?
Okay. Yeah, I think. The big issue with crypto and sustainability right now is the carbon footprint of a couple of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, the algorithms that are used, so-called mining, are burning a lot of energy. So, for example, a Bitcoin transactions now require over 400 kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions. It's like a 3-hour flight to make a single transaction. That's something that is simply not sustainable. And we need to improve. So Ethereum is an example. They are moving towards different algorithms that allow the platform to become more energy efficient. Bitcoin, I don't know where they are in this stage, but that's definitely something that has to happen. We see new algorithms coming, new way of consensus, new technologies that help reduce the carbon footprint and the inefficiency of cryptocurrencies. Imagine, as Turok said in the beginning, so the crypto space is very new. We had a bubble 2018 that burst, and then there was 3 years of not much going on. Now there's a second bubble in a way. There's much more money coming in, but the industry has also grown up. There are some big players entering the market. We see Tesla accepting crypto. We see a lot of banks coming in. So this industry is growing bigger. Obviously, you still have to be careful. This is another bubble. There might be a correction very soon. But so I think what we are seeing here is the maturing of an industry. And also that will require technical maturity. When you look at blockchain is and the challenges with blockchain in terms of usability and efficiency, there's still a lot to do. So keep your eyes on what's happening in this space, especially when you talk to efficiency. So what we are doing as terms of Nick, we are developing our own crypto platform called StackChain. It's a carbon neutral blockchain platform. And our goal is to be faster, more efficient, and more secure than traditional blockchain implementations, because we see that as a big issue for the acceptance of cryptocurrencies. If you look at Bitcoin, it's very slow, it's very inefficient, and a lot of security issues. So these are things that we want to overcome with the new technology. And you can find us on the web. Nico.finance is our domain. We're currently in a test phase, so we're testing the prototype of our platform and are expecting to do our ICO by end of this year.
Wonderful.
ICO, initial coin offering.
Thank you for the definition. All right. Thank you very much. I love it. Tolga, to you, any closing thoughts you want to add? And then where can everyone find you in EV Loop, or Loop EV, pardon me.
Let me tell you that evloop.io, that's our website. And about the cryptocurrencies, the security is a big thing, as Flo mentioned. I'm originally Turkish. They just ripped more than $2 billion of Turkish people, and the owner of the exchange, he left the country. This kind of stuff happens. That happened in China. That happened in Korea too, I think. Cryptocurrencies it's a very for the people who doesn't know too much about the technicalities of the cryptocurrencies. I am knowledgeable because I worked on blockchain projects before too. It's an enormous technology. I think it has a lot of potential, but right now we are still in so early stages, and there's so many bad examples of this bubble, this fraudulent cryptos, and what's happening in the industry. It makes it look like cryptocurrencies are kind of like a scam. It's not a scam, but there's so many scammy businesses going on around cryptocurrencies. That's what people need to, I guess, understand and differentiate. That's my two cents on that. And I also want to add one other thing to the EVs and EV charging. We are like Loop is exponentially growing, and I want people to be aware of the fact that the gasoline cars are not going to come back. Like sometimes, I see some news that are coming. Oh, EV owners are switching back to gasoline. That's not gonna. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that people already are done with the oil industry. Not only just the cars, and yes, it's sweet to drive a car that makes a lot of noise and just dirts the planet, but at the same time, everybody know that cars are, or the current transportation system is literally benefiting a handful of people who are holding the entire resources of the oil industry in their hand, and they have this monopoly in the world, and that's gonna change, and that's why I'm really passionate about it. I really wanted to tell this too. EVs and EV revolution is changing this, and that's like the democratization of the energy industry. So it has so much value. You can reach me at LinkedIn, Tolga Onuk, and my website is tolgaonuk.com. And as I mentioned, our website is evloop.io.
Thank you very much, Tolga. Keith, closing thoughts, where can you be found?
Great, thank you. Yeah, I love these discussions. So many smart people, so many different opinions here, and so many urgent problems that need to be solved. I'm very excited about that, and excited to see this growing again as an investment category after it peaked in 2008 and then sharply fell off afterward. I've been through all of that, and I'm really glad to see that. I'll say one of the big reasons here that we are seeing a resurgence on investment in this area is that the exit window is open. It has been open for the last year and a half. We've seen a ton of SPACs in the clean tech and sustainability space. There were 13 of them in 2020. There were 7 just in the first quarter of this year. This is an exciting exit opportunity that was not available to sustainable and clean tech companies before. So this is really driving not only exits through that, but also driving up valuations on acquisition exits. So certainly the performance of my portfolio is up almost across the board. It's very exciting, and I expect that's true for other people here, and that's attracting more money. So good. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Clubhouse. I'm very active there. Those are probably the 2 best places.
Shout out to that Clubhouse room that you run as well, Keith. Last but not least, Kate, to you, closing thoughts, where can you be found?
Yeah, I hate to drop a bomb. We didn't get really to discuss it, but right now I think more and more people are acknowledging historic and systemic barriers to capital and opportunity. And this is giving way to writing new narratives and also changing policy that has historically held our communities back or damaged people and planet. So that is another reason why I think sustainability is such a hot topic now, is again, you have influencers that are actually working with state government representatives to actually change the way that large corporations are running business, and that is trickling down to our innovation economy. As for me, please, connect with me on LinkedIn if you're interested in putting your hat in the ring for our next investment at Chloe Capital and being part of our diversity and climate tech program in partnership with NYSERDA. That's the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority and Cornell University. Then please go to chloecapital.com and find the details there.
Wonderful. Thank you all very much for your time today and sharing your thoughts and insights and all the great developments you each are seeing respectively as well in your companies and investment portfolios as well. To our audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard, click subscribe, share, and like today's episode. Also check out the archive on LATOKEN.com to hear from today's speakers and all speakers of the VCTV family. Make sure today you reach out to each and every one of these investors if you are building in their respected areas, but nonetheless, reach out, say hi anyways. We would all love to hear from you, but when you do, make sure you add context, where you heard us, where you met us, and what you would like to continue the conversation about as well. With that, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott. Big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria for making today's episode possible. Everyone have a wonderful day, a wonderful Friday, and a wonderful weekend. With that, everyone have a great day. Talk soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Have a great